Show, the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. They clean up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Yo, what's up?
Daft Punk's in the house. Still unsponsored by Liquid Death, the water, sparkling water, but I am drinking it.
I don't have one today. I have off-brand water because we're not sponsored by Liquid Death, and I couldn't spare the $3.50 to go get a Liquid Death today, so we really need that Liquid Death sponsorship.
Yeah, Death to plastic, bro. What are you doing?
I know it's their fault. I emailed them; they didn't email me back. It's their fault.
Ruined our chances.
How you doing today? Are you sleepy?
I'm wide awake, man. I had a good night's sleep, and I'm feeling chipper this morning.
You're wide awake like Katy Perry, huh?
Yeah, got a gig tonight. So, yeah, it's just like a little mingling venue party, trying to pass out them cards.
Ooh, mingling. Yeah. Will there be pretzels? Like little pretzels like in a dish on a table?
That would like be cool nuts? If there was. Probably not. I'm guessing maybe cake pops, I think, will be a big thing.
Cake pops or little like people carrying dishes like with snacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cake pops.
Okay.
Cake pop. I'll Instagram a cake pop if I see it.
All right, perfect. All right, we got a good guest for you guys today. It's guests, multiple, plural.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and start with a little introduction. Our first guest is a 3-time DMC champion. He also teaches scratching and DJing through his new Evolve DJ class. He's DJ'd all over the United States, and you can find his edits exclusively on Direct Music Service. Our second guest has been playing guitar and singing since the age of 3. She's played on stage with Living Color. She toured with the Cirque du Soleil, Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour, which featured some of Michael Jackson's original band members and has gone around 27 different countries and 141 cities with over 500 performances and hitting the box offices, being the 7th highest grossing tour, with that number being $374 million. She's also shared the stage with the Allman Brothers Band, Sammy Hagar, Ted Nugent, Marshall Tucker Band, Foghat, and many, many more. Please help us welcome Team Ragoza.
What's up, everybody?
Hey. How you guys doing?
Really good. Thank you for having us on the show.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on the show. We appreciate it. And there's a lot we want to talk to you guys about today. So we might not get to it all. And if we don't, we'll have to just have you back on the show to talk more at some point moving forward.
Part 2.
For sure.
Drew, do you want to start with our not so rapid fires?
Yeah, so we like to hit you with a rapid fire just to shake things up and get everybody just feeling comfortable. So yeah, a little icebreaker. We call it not so rapid fire because what we thought should be one-word questions have now turned into full conversations. So don't overthink it. We're just gonna have fun with it.
And yeah, you both get to answer these. So these are directed at both of you. So, all right, we're going to start with our first one, which is the last thing that you've listened to on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you use to listen to music.
For me, yesterday I was listening to Sion's album. I've had that on repeat for like the past 2 weeks now.
How do you spell it? I don't know that I have that. I'm going to add it on.
Sion. It's like it has Howard Jones from Killswitch Engage and Jared Dines on the guitar.
So we're big metal heads. We listen to a lot of like metalcore, things like that. And Sion is a newer band that came out recently, but there's an older band called Killswitch Engage, which is, they're legends in the metalcore world. And the old lead singer is now the front man of that new band Sion. So we've been listening to that. For me, I was listening to Fabulous FA.
I'm gonna add that too.
Hello,
I'm adding these on for my drive.
I was spelling Fab how he spells it. FABO. Hello, US.
Fabulous.
You're gonna have to mash that up in your next routine.
Yeah.
You have to now.
Yeah, Fabulous versus Scion.
What's your guys' favorite thing to do when not DJing?
For me,
Or yeah, or for you, not playing guitar or on stage or whatever as well.
well, I'm a very artsy person, so I love doing like anything arts and crafts. In my free time, it's hard to say. It's like I don't have a lot of free time because I manage a lot of my own stuff or my solo stuff. I do stuff with Team Ragoza full time, and but if I do have the time, like we'll go on bike rides together, or if the weather's nice, I like to take my motorcycle out.
Oh.
Yeah, when it's nice out, we like to go fishing too. That's something that we do. We have kayaks, so that's always fun. And if it's not nice out and the weather is shitty like it usually is in New England, I mean, if I say like I like to scratch, does that count as DJing? Like if I'm not at a gig and I'm at home all day, like my favorite thing to do is like take an edible and cut it up.
If that's your shit, dude, then yeah, hell yeah. That's
Yep.
cool. That's how obsessed you are about it, which is amazing. It just goes to show how much time you need to put into it to really perfect it to get to another level.
Yeah.
I feel like we do so much, all of us here do so much that, is related to DJing or related to music that I feel like when I don't want to do anything, like when I'm done, I'm just like, I can't do it at all. I don't want to do anything music related. But I like that you guys have some, like the fishing and the kayaking. It's good to have some hobbies that are like completely removed from the DJing.
For sure. But now I'm starting to get into DJing too. I'm starting to learn how to scratch and all that.
So it's funny because like the question's almost different for her because it's like when you're not playing, what do you like to do? DJing.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we had DJ Excel on. He has a lot of old school bikes. What kind of bikes do you have? Your motorcycles you were talking about.
I have I just bought it last year. I got the 2021 Harley Iron, the 883.
Oh, okay. I know which one that is. That's pretty cool. It's like they're like kind of their take on like a modern classic bike. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's nice. It's small enough for me because I'm very short.
Did you have to? So here in Ohio, you have to get like a special motorcycle license. Do you have to do that the same in Massachusetts?
You gotta get the license for it.
Are you being a rebel and just riding it without the license? Uh-oh. It's so common. I feel like everybody does that pretty much. So,
well, it's really strictly because like my license is going to expire next year, but my license is still in Connecticut where I grew up and lived most of my life. And I'm still on the fence of whether changing it to Massachusetts license or it's like depending on what our circumstances, if we're going to be relocating again, if I should get a license there.
Yeah, makes sense. Who's your guys' favorite remixers or producers? Or you could say band too, you're not limited to one. You can rattle off a few.
I've been into some Alan Walker lately.
Okay.
There's a lot that come to mind. Obviously, representing the team, Scooter makes great remixes, very playable. Great. He's great at taking songs that don't hold their weight in a crowd by themselves and just adding the right amount of drums and stuff to make it hype. I like his stuff a lot. I love Anthem Kings or Delirious and Alex K, either brand they use. Dope. Love their remixes. Yeah, I always enjoy just like the Tiestos, David Guetta, Rehab. All those guys make great remixes. Big fan of that style too.
Alan Walker's the one that wore the mask before wearing masks was such a cool thing to do.
We were just talking about that. Yeah. Because I definitely love his style. And a video came up on YouTube the other day of a live performance he did. I actually didn't even know what he looked like. I knew his records, but I never seen him like in person. So I clicked on the video and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this was uploaded in 2017. Why is he wearing a mask?
Head of the game.
Yeah.
So we always like asking this question because it's so random and weird, and it'll probably stump you for a second because it stumps everybody. And we were recording with Sprite last night, and he was stumped for a second and didn't even know what to say. So I'm excited to hear your guys' answers. But what is the best non-curse word, one word insult? I'll give you the same example that I gave him last night. Simo, when we had him on, his is clown. He likes to call somebody a clown. That guy's a clown.
Sprite's was dingus.
Mine is doof.
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 I like that. We're eventually going to make a sticker pack with all of these.
Just like a t-shirt. It'll just say all these one word.
That's weird because it's like, first of all, I don't really insult people a lot these days. I'm a very calm guy. But if I were going to insult somebody, I mean, I would just use a curse word. So I'm trying to think of what. I don't know.
That's what I think. Who said that recently?
Right,
somebody was like,
last night.
Yeah.
I mean, for you just use the records.
Yeah, that's right. I insult with the records.
There you go.
Maybe we'll go with scratch. How about that?
Yes.
All right. And then here's another good one. What's a popular song that, is big and it works in a DJ set, but it makes you cringe and you refuse to play? And Desiree, for you, it could just be like an overplayed song that you hate playing out to.
Oh, Mustang Sally, all the way.
Oh. That song makes me cringe when I hear a band play Mustang Sally.
Yeah. I feel
All I
that.
imagine is that older lady doing the one-legged twist, where she's like shaking it back and forth and then puts the next leg out and does the next leg twist. AKA my mother-in-law. Sorry.
That's funny. For me, it's kind of random, but like, what was that song that came out a couple years ago? I think it was Bruno Mars and Justin Bieber. I Don't Care.
Oh, the Ed Sheeran one. Yeah.
Ed Sheeran and
Justin
Bieber. Yeah. Okay. So that song was really big, and I hated that song. I hated it. And even like Ed Sheeran, like, he's a talented dude. I think he's actually really cool. Like, he's a cool dude, and he's hanging out with everybody. But something about his music, it just reminds me of like sitting in a waiting room at a doctor's office or something, or like, I don't know. Like, his music makes me cringe. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He's talented, very talented.
Yeah.
But like that, specifically that song, I Don't Care. I never played it once, as big as it was.
That song's funny because it's got that click sample, the Jay-Z and Big Sean, that it's got that do like in the background, and the production is just weird on that song to me. Like, if you take the lyrics and like the melody, it's fine. It's the production, I think, that makes that song so just weird. And a lot of Ed's songs I actually like. If you haven't watched his documentary, it's really awesome. It's called Songwriter, and it starts off, the opening scene is him sitting on the tour bus with Benny Blanco, his producer, and Ed's like Benny goes to sleep, and Ed's like writing Justin Bieber "Love Yourself" because Ed wrote that song, and the original lyrics were, it's just Ed sitting there. If you like the way you look that much, you should just fuck yourself. Like, that's him saying that. And then so anyway, they changed the lyrics, and that Justin Bieber ended up doing that song. But that's like the opening scene, and it's really, really, really cool. If you like music documentaries, I highly suggest checking them out.
We just watched a very dope documentary on Dolly Parton, and I didn't know this. I had no idea she wrote "I Will Always Love You."
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was just watching. It was the end of Pam and Tommy. They have a whole thing on Hulu right now where it's about their sex tape, how the guy stole it, and it's a great little mini series. If you haven't watched it, it's
What is it called?
phenomenal. It's Pam and Tommy. It's on Hulu, and the last song to close out the whole thing, and it's no spoilers here, but it closes out with the Dolly Parton version of that. So yeah, I just heard it on.
I haven't watched all of those episodes yet. I think Ashley and I are like 4 episodes into the Pam and Tommy, and it's a Seth Rogen. He's in it, and so it's got some. I don't know if you guys are fans of Seth Rogen or not, but it's got some very Seth Rogen moments in there too.
Okay.
It was really good and very classic to the time. Like there's a couple moments where they're like, "It's on the internet," and Tommy's going, "What is that? What's this internet? Where do I find it?" You know, and they go to a library to search their porn, because that was the only place they could find the internet. So interesting, but it was a good documentary, just on the time, kind of how they both got screwed over. It's just it's kind of sad, but it was cool.
What's a go-to food spot in your guys' area? Like, for example, here in Cincinnati, we have the famous Skyline Chili that everybody always talks about when they come to this area. Do you guys have a spot like that where you're from, or is there something that you just enjoy that you guys go to a lot?
Well, we enjoy a lot of seafood and like sushi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're big on seafood. Actually, our first date was we went out at a sushi spot, and that was like our like I said, it was our first date, and it started off so well because she sat down and we didn't really know anything about each other. We just knew that we like sushi, so we met at a sushi spot, and so when she sat down, I was like, "What kind of sushi do you like?" She said salmon. It's like, "All right, me too." How do you like it? She said sashimi. All right, me too. This is going great. So yeah, we're big on we like a lot of fish, seafood, things like that. We like going out for steak too, but every once in a while it's not as healthy.
Is there a restaurant specific that you like most by name?
We have to shout out Acharo.
Acharo.
That was where we went for our first date, and it was really cool because we posted about it on Facebook like a month later or whatever. We went back there. They actually saw it and said, "Wow, that's a wonderful story that you guys met there and got married a month later. Every time you guys come in now, you get a free scorpion bowl."
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, we don't do it anymore because we don't drink now. But I mean, hey, that was really cool of them to do that.
Yeah,
so Acharo
cool.
in West Hartford, great sushi, great restaurant, great people.
Their hibachi's on point too.
Yeah.
If Drew and I come up there, we'll go there with you, and they can make back all the bulls that they owe you by giving
yes.
us.
So the last time we were here, we didn't take advantage of our free Scorpio bowl, so hook our homies
up. I mean, they would be like, "Geez, these guys are really putting them away."
Dangerous.
But all right, this is a question for both of you too. It's most memorable night in the DJ booth, or most memorable night that you've had a show on stage.
In the guitar aspect of it, the most memorable, I think, I have a lot, but the one for me was when I had my opening show on Cirque du Soleil. We were in Montreal, and my grandma came out to see the first show. She flew all the way out from Connecticut with my sister to come and see me for the opening night for it.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
I went to Montreal with my dad and my brother when we were 10 or so, and I remember that's where it got its start, right? So was that like they always start the show or the tour in Montreal?
Not always, no. That one, so because the headquarters is based out of Montreal, so they had their opening night there. But our very last show, so we had it going for 3 years. We ended in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Wow, that's awesome.
I have a bunch of questions I want to ask about this. So we're gonna have to circle back around because we have a few things we want to ask on that.
I'm not positive it's the main guy, but I have to dig up this picture. I have a picture of me and my brother with a guy on stilts in Montreal, and I was 9 and he was 8, and he's picking us up. And we're almost sure that it was the guy, one of the guys that started Cirque du Soleil back in the day. So
probably most likely, yeah.
I love that city. It's such a cool city. I've only been twice, but it's such an awesome city.
I love it there. It's very unique. It's very diverse, but it's very artsy, and the culture is amazing.
My wife's Canadian, so you see my Toronto hat in the back. So we go up to Toronto all the time. So
nice.
We need to make it a little bit farther over to Montreal.
Brandon, do you have a most memorable night in the DJ booth?
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot. The one that comes to mind right now is I would say 2017 at Crowbar in down in Tampa, Florida. When I won my second DMC title, that was such a fun night just because I wasn't going to do it. I decided the night before to do it, and I still won. And it was like I don't know. It was one of the best performances I've done in a battle just because I think it had to do with the fact that I didn't practice that much and I decided the night before to do it. So like when you practice a routine for months on end and then you show up to perform it, there's all this weight on your shoulders because you put in all this work of like, oh my God, I spent so much time practicing this routine and putting it together. If I screw it up, then all that work is wasted. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have that mindset, even though that's not really true because you can reuse the routines, whatever. But in that moment, that's kind of how I feel. So that particular night, because I didn't have those months and months behind me, I was just decided last minute, like, fuck it, let me just do this. I'm in the city. It's happening tomorrow. Might as well. So like I performed with like this type of like ease, like it was a lot of ease and just like not really taking it too serious. And because of that, I was nice and loose. I wasn't stiff. Like that's a problem with me. Like I tend to get too stiff when I perform stuff that I practice a lot because I overthink it. So because I didn't practice it a lot and I was kind of just, doing some stuff I put together the day before, it just flew, everything flowed out really nice. And it was such a dope like day because I went thinking like, oh, I just decided to do it last minute. I'm just doing it for fun. And then I ended up winning. It was just, I don't know. It was great. And then we went to the after party and I got the DJ they have a patio out there. So I got the DJ for like an hour. It wasn't planned, but I just did it. It was just such a great time. And I love Florida. I love warm weather. I don't like being out in the sun during the day, but summer nights are great. That was a fun night. And then the other one that came to mind was just any raves that I've done. We actually have one coming up for this Tight Crew. They put on all these raves up here in New England, and those are always such a blast. Like it's such a different crowd to DJ for than your typical working DJ crowd that you might encounter on the weekend at a sports bar or a nightclub or whatever. Like raves are totally different. I've done 3 of them so far. Each of them are like up there with like my favorite gigs ever. It's just so much fun. So we're actually doing one together next month as Team Ragoza. I can't wait.
I'm excited. It'll be my first rave. And
wow, that's gonna be rad.
Are you playing like a lot of dance and like EDM, or are you even playing like like I don't mean like you're not playing like Calvin Harris, We Found Love. You're playing like more deeper cuts there, right?
Well, so we play very mainstream stuff. Like when I'm at a rave, I will play very mainstream stuff, but I mash it up very heavily. I do a lot of scratching, a lot of live mashups.
Okay.
And the thing is, I just like to use familiar music that everybody knows. So if I were to go up there and I would never play like We Found Love, just like the original version. But if we had a dope mashup with it, then definitely. Because the thing is, everybody else at the raves they're already doing that. They're already playing the deep dance music. So if I come in there and play some open format, drop some rock, drop some hip hop, it kind of shakes things up a little bit. And that's why they bring me in, because they know I'm going to do the open format stuff. And it definitely like it kind of shakes things up. You know what I mean? It's like a
totally. That's
fresh air and I can play things at a rave that I can't get away with at a regular nightclub. Like I could play a lot of the last time I was there, I was dropping like Hawthorne Heights and shit like that. Like when you're at a regular like college bar, you might be able to get away with like Yellow Card and things like that. But you could get a lot heavier for a rave crowd. It's a lot. Definitely a lot of fun. So I love it.
Is this the main stage, a side stage? How do they position you with other people? I'm curious. Like some of the other DJs.
So normally they have me on the main stage, and I play like I think I'm like third to last. So they usually have this guy named DJ Venom headline out in Rhode Island. I don't know if he's headlining the one that we're doing, but he's like this hardstyle DJ from like he's been doing it since like the 90s, and he's really dope. Like he plays hardstyle, he cuts it up over it and everything. It's really nice. So last time I played right before he did. I usually do like an hour, 15 minutes, and then there's usually like 1 or 2 people after me. So it's kind of they break it up nice. I like how they do it. Plus I love being there because I get to like experience a lot of music that I don't normally get to hear.
Totally.
Like because there's like 4 or 5 other rooms, so I could go and listen to some drum and bass. I can go listen to all different types of house music and all types of like happy hardcore, like 160 beat per minute. Like do. You know,
when I went,
but
used to go to
you don't see that stuff regularly.
yeah. When I used to go to raves, I would walk through the happy hardcore, but I just be like, this is way too much for me. Um, and then I would always just go to the jungle drum and bass room. That was my shit.
Yeah, drum and bass is dope. We've been incorporating it in our routines too lately, and it's like one of my favorite genres to like scratch over. Because it's so like, especially like the jungle stuff, the liquid stuff, like it's so, you just get in the zone. You know, you put that stuff on, and I actually made these mixes for myself where they're like these hour-long drum and bass mixes, but I took out all the dropouts. So basically it's just a steady beat the whole way through for a whole hour. So I could just and it's instrumental too. So I just put it on and just freestyle over it for like an hour and just get in the zone.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I wish I loved DJing and scratching half as much as you did. Because you are like, I can't like anymore. I'm like, practice.
Most of my practice comes from making edits. That's what I consider my zen, is just looking at my stuff and then going through it and editing everything. But
that is practice though, because like I know, and I guarantee this has happened to you because it happens to me all the time. When you're making edits, you're sitting in front of, you know, Ableton or whatever you're using, and you're making edits or you're making mixes, whatever it is. You come across tracks that you might not have thought to play live, and you're like, oh shit, I could actually, you know, work this into my set. And then of course, if you make an edit of that track, it's even better because now it has more of your distinct style to it. So I totally think that, you know, that making edits is practicing. Plus it strengthens, like I think it strengthens your understanding of like phrasing and music structure, things like that. I know I'm a better live DJ now that I've been editing for, you know, almost 10 years now. So definitely made me a better DJ.
Yeah, just making mixes in general, like you're saying, is usually how I come up with new routines where I can just be calm and staring at the computer and not trying to read the crowd, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, cool. What can I do with this? And fucking with it. So yeah, you're right.
I also got to mention real quick before we move on to our next question. I've never really been big into like the electronic scene or the raves, but in 2018 I went to ADE, the Amsterdam Dance Event, which is like a big, you know, music conference, and there's, you know, DJs everywhere. And we went to this party. We went to basically a party every night, but we went to this party, and it was like 45 minutes walking distance out of the city. And I only know that because we ended up walking back because we couldn't get an Uber. So, but we showed up, we had tickets to this party. We had no idea what to like really expect. There was like this airplane hangar, and they had like chase lights like through the airplane hangar. Then they had this circus tent, and inside the circus tent, I have videos of it too I can show. But inside the circus tent, there was just like some dude playing like super minimal, like tech house. And I'm talking, this circus tent is huge. There's probably 1,000 to 1,500 people in there, and they are selling helium balloons or whatever. Like
NOS,
whatever, the people go and they just inhale it. Yeah, I'm like, this is wild. And like,
it's probably too loud for helium balloons because then you don't want to hear your voice change. You're not like, hey, talking
whatever
like
it
Mickey
is,
Mouse.
what is it that they put in them? I don't know, but yeah, they were selling them there, dude. It was wild. Everybody you could tell was like rolling, so like their eyes are like, you know, and like, but that was pretty neat. If you guys are into that kind of stuff, like the ADE event is like cool itself because, you know, there's so many different. It's like going to a DJ show here, except for it's in Amsterdam and you get like the whole world that goes. They say that like there's like an influx in the city of like 200,000 people for that specific week.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. And you know, you could go to like new gear stuff, like, oh, Roland's got their thing there, and here's all Roland's new gear. You could go listen to Joe Schmo DJ talk about whatever, and you know, but it was pretty neat. So I highly would recommend going at least once. So
yeah, we're gonna try to go to as many shows as we can, you know.
For sure. We want to try to
Totally.
make Marquee if we can.
Yeah. I don't know if Drew and I are going to make the marquee, but we definitely know for DMS, we will be doing something at Atlantic City. So we know we'll be seeing you guys there again.
Yeah, we're definitely going to that one for sure, because that one. There's no excuse for us not to go to that one, because it's in the middle of the week and it's driving distance. So.
And we're used to that Atlantic City drive.
Yeah, we're used to that drive. So
you play out there a lot?
Last year I used to be in a cover band, or both of us were in a cover band for a little bit, for at least like a few months or so.
It was cool. It was a different experience for me because I got to kind of rock the crowd from a different perspective. But it was one of those things where, when you're working with a band, there's just more members, more, which means, the pay gets divided a lot more. And, I was going to try to get, while I was out there, do some networking and stuff like that. But we were always so busy going from one place to the next. Like we would be in New Jersey one day, then New York the next day. And it got to the point where we just didn't have any time for anything else but that. So we had to step away. But I do miss it. Like it was fun. Like it was a lot of fun playing at all the casinos out there. And it was really dope because, like I said, it was DJing, but a different experience of DJing, because I was just doing the cuts and stuff for the band. And there's actually a lot of times there was a house DJ already there. So I wouldn't have to worry about mixing at all. Like they would DJ between the, in between our breaks and stuff like that. And it was cool because I just got to chill and listen to some other DJs, which was great.
That was fun.
Yeah. One night, Aiden Scott was out there. He was the house DJ at one of our events, and he was like that. Like I've heard of him before. We've been friends on Facebook, but I've never seen him DJ live until that point, and I was blown away. He was killing that shit.
His photography work is on point too. He's awesome.
Yeah. His photography work. Yeah, but so it was dope because I got to see other DJs. I got to rock a crowd, but not worry about selecting. You know what I mean? It was dope. Yeah.
What kind of cover band was this? Just curious.
They play mostly top 40 stuff.
Okay. I've just been seeing some new metal bands coming up on the cover circuit. So it's one of them was it was Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, Limp Park or something like that, and they were just doing all metal songs. So I didn't know that could bring in the scratching into all that era.
Yeah,
it's so big with DJ and all that stuff,
dude.
But yeah,
a Limp Bizkit cover band. I mean, come on, that's just comedy.
No, they did Linkin Park and they did they did everybody, but it was good.
I'll have to take your word for it, because if I saw that pop up, I'd be like, definitely not for me. So
yours looked like last year with the gray hair and all that stuff, in his
oh yeah, yep, he surfaced back up. Yeah, they played Lollapalooza, right?
Yeah.
I was
I saw that video. I saw the thumbnail of it. I was like, "There's no way that's Fred Durst." When did Limp Bizkit get a replacement frontman?
Yeah, totally.
That was supposed to be his new incognito look for the new album. I don't know if they ended up putting it out, but that was going to be the new.
No, they
new
did
shtick for it. Oh, they did. Okay,
half of it. It's one of those things where I'm not a huge Limp Bizkit fan. Obviously, it's kind of one of those. When I was a kid, obviously, 12 years old, and Limp Bizkit was actually new at the time. I thought it was the coolest shit ever because I was just a kid. But I think it's fair to say that music definitely didn't age as well as let's say Linkin Park. You know what I mean? But still, they put out a new album. I was just kind of curious, what does Limp Bizkit have to offer in 2021 when they dropped it? So we didn't listen to the whole thing. We listened to a little bit of it, and it's what you would expect.
What piece of advice would you tell young DJ Ragoza or young Desiree, knowing now what you know? If you had to go back, what would be one piece of advice that you would give?
Just always be passionate about what you do, have fun with what you do, and just the rest falls into place from there.
Yeah, I would have told myself, because I was not good in school, but I was upset that I wasn't good in school because it made me feel like I was stupid, and I would have told myself that none of this shit matters, bro. None of this matters. Fuck the school. Focus on your DJing. Stay positive, and know that when you put in work, when you put in hard work, you always get rewarded. Because I never really knew a lot of this stuff when I was younger. I thought the only way to get results in life, was to like work for money and, just like a regular 9 to 5 job. But now that I'm older, I realize like when you put in energy to something, the universe gives it back to you in one way or another. Like I focus and I really just put in a lot of work. Another opportunity comes from a seemingly unconnected source, like something completely unconnected will pop up. And I look at that like, yes, this is part of my reward for putting in that hard work. So I would have told myself, don't worry about what the society's telling you about. You have to finish school. You have to, work a 9 to 5, all this shit. Do what you love, be diligent, and you will get rewarded for it.
And have fun doing it.
Yeah. And have fun doing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even to add on to that, just having your parents or someone else tell you that you can't DJ or play guitar for a living, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in my circumstance, my dad managed me for the longest time, and I'm super grateful and thankful for all the experiences and all that. But things kind of like went the whole 180 by the time the Cirque du Soleil show ended, and that's when it really put me into perspective. Okay, like I really need to learn and figure out how to do this on my own. And it got to that point where it made me realize, well, this is what I dedicated my life for, and this is what I'm passionate about. So it really put the tunnel vision on me, and just I went full blown, just like self-managing to this day, and here I am.
Yeah, my parents thought DJing was like they thought it was just a trend because ironically, when I was a kid, I wanted to play guitar. Like that was what I like. That's always been my favorite instrument. Still is. Like my favorite instrument of all time is electric guitar. It sounds so dope. And that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. But by the time I was 13, that's when my parents finally got me a guitar for my 13th birthday. But that by that point, I was kind of over it, and I was now just getting into DJing. So I played guitar for like a year just to make them happy. I sucked at it. I was really bad. But my mind wasn't in it. I was already thinking, oh, I want a DJ. So like next year I turned 14. I'm like, I want turntables for my birthday. And like, they're like, oh, but it's just going to be another, another phase like it was with the guitar. And, of course I said, no, this is different, but they didn't, now they support me. They see it now. But at the time, I can't blame them for thinking it would have been a phase.
Totally. I can see it.
I think with kind of what you said, things are starting to change though. Like I was never much of a school person either. I'm very much let me just start doing it and figure it out along the way type person. And I feel like I've been that way with everything. But and even like you see in the business world, like big companies like Google and Apple, they're changing the way that that the standard work a 9 to 5, the norm is changing to no, we realize now that this working a 9 to 5 doesn't actually produce the best for everybody. And I wonder, if school and what the education, and I don't have a kid, so I don't have a kid in a school system right now, but I have a couple, I have 2 nieces and 3 nephews, and I'm always fascinated to talk to them about like, hey, what are you doing in school today? Like, what's new? And I wonder, how long it is until school changes too, where it's like, we're teaching more creative outlets and more specified things at a younger age, because and things even like teaching business. There's things that I still feel like I learn every year, the longer I do this, about business and, financials and taxes. And I just wish that I would have actually got to learn more about that in school. I feel like I would have been much more like, oh, this is really interesting. I think you guys know what I mean.
I get what you're saying, because it's like when you're a kid, you don't know any better. Like I did, I used to think I was stupid because I couldn't figure out what X equaled. You know what I'm saying? But now I grew up and I realized, like, okay, I still don't know what the fuck X equals, but why does it matter? Algebra is useless. I don't use that in my day-to-day life. You know what I mean? When I was a kid saying that shit, I don't use this. Why do I need to know this? The teachers would like, oh, it'll be important one day. No, the fuck it won't. I have a calculator on my smartphone.
Yeah,
that was my favorite, is when they would say, oh, it's not like you're going to be carrying around a calculator. You can't just whip out your calculator in the store, and now that's all we could do anything.
Because the thing is, like, you're right, like we should learn things that are actually going to help us in life. You know what I mean? Like everybody who I didn't even finish high school, I'll be honest about that. I dropped out. I definitely have no regrets about that at all, because a lot of the people who gave me shit about dropping out, like 5 years after that, they weren't doing anything, really with their lives. They were struggling, and I'm not saying I'm not like rich or anything, but I do consider myself rich because I do what I love for a living. You know what I mean? And I could have been doing what I love at a much bigger scale earlier had I not had those, I guess, those subconscious I guess you could say rules, like in my mind that school put there, like, oh, you need to do things this way. Life isn't easy. You have to work hard to live the life you want. All this, all these false beliefs that get in your way and hold you back. Once I shed those beliefs, and I was like, okay, now I can live life the way I want to live life. And yeah, in my opinion, school really taught me nothing other than to be negative and to sell yourself short.
For me too. Like I didn't end up going to college or anything, and my parents kind of like frowned upon it for a little bit. But I mean, it didn't take long for like the hard work that I was putting in with just making the content I was and putting the energy out there, just enjoying playing it, and it's just like it happened like after I graduated high school that the Cirque du Soleil gig came around, and now to this day I get to work with my husband all the time, 24/7. We're making content, and I'm happy.
Yeah. We're really happy with the way things are going.
I agree. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. My brother's kids are in England, and they go to school there, and it's kind of fascinating when I got to go visit them last over there, picking up the kids from school. One, they go for like a long day. It's a little bit longer than here. But at such a young age, they have to, and I kind of liked this. So they wear uniforms to school, and the boys they have to be able to tie their own ties and stuff by the first year they go to school. Like they have to be able to put their outfit on and tie their tie themselves, like, and dress themselves. And one of the things that they were taking was like a home ec class at such a young age. They were like cooking their own food and doing this stuff. And I'm like, that seems way more valuable to learn right away, because it's like all that stuff cooking, you're ingraining that in your brain. Like, don't get me wrong, I love going to eat out at a restaurant, but the amount of money you can spend going out and like versus like just cooking at your own food at home, is crazy. And like, it was just wild to me that they're 7-8 years old, and they were fighting over who was eating their leftover chicken chow mein that they cooked in school, which I was like, you cooked what? Yeah. We got one more random not so rapid fire questions for you here, and this basically just goes towards Brandon, and maybe you, Desiree, too, now that you're starting to DJ. But what is your most random crate name in your Serato?
Oh man, I got a lot of them. Let's see. I'm gonna take out my computer.
The holy grail.
Crate 56.
I have a lot of those crate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, and I finally have to start naming them because I'm like, what's in this thing?
I had some funny. I name my stuff pretty funny. Like, let's see what I got. Oh, this one, drum and bass fuck around, I call it, because it's a bunch of tracks. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use them for routines or not, so I put them in there just to fuck around with them. So that's why I call it drum and bass fuck around.
It's like so literal.
Yeah. A lot of these crates are named after like venues and stuff that I played at. I like to say, like, if I do a dope set, I like to save it as a crate, and I'll just name that crate the venue name with the date.
I see
DMS Rock. Yeah, a lot of Drew Pierce and up in there.
There we go. Which I have a billion of your edits. Someone called me out. I mean, I don't know if it's a call out, but I was showing my crates on one of the Crate Hackers things. They're like, "Oh, I see a Ragoza folder on there." I'm like, of course. So why not? It's got a ton of great edits.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I think the drum and bass fuck around takes the cake for this one so far. So
I'm looking through. There's none other that sound exciting. So yeah, we'll go with that one.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and let's move into our Serato top 5. But
okay, yeah.
We're gonna play a little segment video first. So here we go.
The Serato Top 5.
All right,
Sorry,
so
we had one for rapid fire too. We forgot to play it, but I'll have to try
we
and add
forgot
it
to
in.
play it. So yeah, you know the deal with the Serato top 5. If we talk the top 5 most played songs in your Serato by the newly added play count in Serato, but we know as we talked before we started recording that it can be skewed a little bit. So, but we want to hear what you got for it.
You can have some honorable mentions in there as well. You know, if something just seems not right, you could just throw an honorable mention in.
Yeah. So mine is I definitely have to have some honorable mentions because I practice a lot. So my top 5 are just like practice tracks that I use. So like the number 1 track on here right now is Big Booty by Gucci Mane and Megan Thee Stallion, which is a track I don't really play it out anymore, maybe occasionally, but there's a beat juggle routine I have for it that I've been practicing, and it has currently right now 1,085 plays, which doesn't sound like it would be a lot for a most played, but my library kind of got refreshed recently because I just deleted a lot of music and moved a lot of stuff around. So like my actual top 5 is just all like it's that song, and then there's a scratch track, and then there's like a bunch of like routine edits that I made. But if I scroll down a little bit further and actually go to like the tracks that I'm playing out, I've been doing a lot more weddings after the pandemic. So you like Living on a Prayer, Shots, It Takes Two, Turn Down for What, all the typical stuff. Next Episode. Those are
Any specific routines for those ones that you play, like Living on a Prayer? Any like a routine you do with that? You play like an acapella out specifically?
yeah.
Just curious.
We do this in Team Ragoza too. I've been doing this for years though, where I'll play Living on a Prayer. I'll just play like the hook of it, and when the hook gets to the end, I scratch in the acapella, and I loop the part where he goes, "We'll give it a shot," and I loop it, so it's like "We'll give it a shot, we'll give it a shot," and then I scratch in shots, and I have a cue point on the word shot on Living on a Prayer, and I stutter it in the same way of the LMFAO shots chorus. So I go shot, 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 and then boom, then the shots comes in and everybody goes nuts. So
that's dope.
That's how I like to play those 2 songs.
That's a good one. Desiree, you have your top 5 already?
Well, I'm trying to figure out on my.
So you got to go to.
Where is it?
You might not have it in your field yet. It should say plays.
Actually, I was gonna say 1,000 plays is a lot. I think my most
is.
played is only like 200. So yeah, that's a lot.
Same.
It's hard to think I practiced that routine over 1,000 times, and I still don't have it to the standard I want it.
Well, it probably counts it every time you load it to the next deck, right? So
yes,
it's maybe like doubled or tripled to whatever that is.
Okay, yeah. So Desiree had Desiree's is Candy Shop. Foxy Brown Tastes Just Like Candy. What is it? Naughty Girl, Doo Wop, Dip It Low, Who's That Girl? These are all like custom edits though, because Desiree did her first ever like mixing routine on Twitch like about a month or 2 ago, and it was a ladies night theme. So it was just like a 5-minute like kind of like a showcase set. So that was what she did. So that's what's in Desiree's top 5.
For now.
That's cool. What about would you say like if you played to cover band, you've done tons of music stuff, live music stuff your whole life. Can you name like a few songs that you think were just so overplayed that the band would play, or like that you've done over the years?
Mustang Sally.
Mustang Sally. That was a big request. In the cover band the band that I performed in, we played like half of my own songs, and then we played like stuff like Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, Triumph, Allman Brothers, a lot of Joe Satriani stuff. Like he's my idol for guitar heroes.
Joe Satriani, for those who don't know, Joe Satriani is like the DJ Qbert of the guitar world.
That's true.
Very, very.
Have you been on Space Mountain? Didn't he do the soundtrack for that in the headphones? Joe Satriani. I'm almost 90% sure that's
You talking about
soundtrack.
Universal Studios?
No, Space Mountain at Disneyland. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Disneyland, at least in California. I'm not positive in Disney World, but I'm pretty sure that song is Joe Satriani did that. I mean, it might have been replaced by now, but this was 10 years ago. It was for a while.
He has the famous one, crowd chant. They play in like all the hockey arenas and stuff.
Yeah, we have a routine for that one too.
Which chant is that?
Crowd chant.
Give us a little. Give us. You're a singer. You can do it. Come on. How's it go?
It's actually instrumental.
It's instrumental.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of those songs where it's like the guitar plays and then the crowd repeats. So it's like da, 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 da. How does it go?
Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
and then the crowd would respond back, and he'll play another da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And there's like a part that's in the background. There's a lot of clapping and stuff. It's very crowd involved.
Yeah.
Okay. So while we're talking, band stuff, tell us a little bit about touring with Cirque du Soleil and the Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour. Like, how did that come about?
So so I graduated high school in 2010, and my parents were like, okay, so what are you gonna do with your life? And my dad wanted me to go to college to like Berkeley and stuff, and I got accepted, but it's just I wasn't feeling it. Like, I was already doing music, and I took lessons for so many years from various people, and was mostly self-taught. So I didn't want to really do teaching or go to music school. My dad was a little bit upset about it, but in the meantime, I worked as actually a substitute custodian at the school I went to for a little bit, up until like months later. My dad gets a phone call from the music director at the time. It was Greg Philliganes, who played with Quincy Jones, Toto, and all that. They came across my videos on YouTube at the time, and I was just 17. I haven't even just been in college or anything, and they basically asked over the phone, it's like, I want you, like, you don't have to audition or nothing. And my dad had to do some research on the guy and what the show was about. And I was upstairs still waking up. It was like 1 PM. And I'm like, I'm going to get up and just make myself some toast. And I was already listening to Michael Jackson music that morning.
Very, very ironic, right?
Very ironic. So I go downstairs, and my dad stares at me from across the room, like with an angry face, like, you know what you just did? I'm like, I legit thought I was in trouble for something. He had me go on the laptop, go on the computer. And I'm like, what is this? And he started to explain it to me. And I took it probably took about like a week before like I was able to like fully process it in my mind. Like, holy fucking shit, this is a big production. Because you had Cirque du Soleil involved, and the Michael Jackson estate involved, and the team in Canada, their production company involved. So it was a huge thing. And we had like maybe like over 200 cast and crew members, I think, with us.
Because
that is a big production.
But yeah, and I did that for 3 years and got to travel the world and experience the different cultures and food, explore around, and they paid me really good, and it was nice. But it was really just the experience and having fun and loving what I do and being able to perform in front of all those people. Like, the biggest crowd we played for was a stadium. I want to say it was in Sweden, but it had like 15,000 people. That was the most I ever played in front of.
That's incredible. I've seen a bunch of these shows, and is it the same Michael Jackson show that's in Vegas right now?
Yeah, that's the sister show. I did the one that I was on. That was the original one.
Right. Is it similar stuff? The songs or?
Some of the songs are similar. I noticed they mixed it differently, but the production on it is on a whole other level. Like, I won't say too much about it because you have to kind of go and see it for yourself if you haven't. But they have a hologram of Michael Jackson in the show at one point.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's so cool that you did that. I know you mentioned Toto and Quincy were part of it. Toto did some of the Thriller stuff, right?
They were a lot of session musicians.
Yeah,
Toto was
Steve Lukather and Greg Howe, and I know Slash was playing Michael Jackson stuff for a little bit.
Did you ever get to meet some of these people that came? Did you have any big backstage moments with any of these people? Big stars or anybody that might have come?
A few. The family came out a couple times. CeeLo Green came out. Chris Angel, the president, came to see our show. Muhammad Ali. Let's see, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. A lot of people came out, but I think the most exciting for me was like meeting CeeLo Green and Kevin from the Backstreet Boys. That was pretty fun.
Nice. So it says you went to 27 different countries and 141 different cities. What would you say was one of the most memorable cities that you went to?
My
Not in terms of the show, but just like a place you liked to visit.
That's hard to say. I have a few. So Vegas will always be like a second home to me. But Tokyo's up there.
Yeah, I want to go to Japan for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
You gotta get that custom sushi out there.
Yeah.
And if you're brave enough, try some of the puffer fish.
I'll pass on that.
I think I'm with you on that's a hard pass.
Why risk your life over fish when you can just have salmon?
Right.
Yeah.
I personally haven't tried it, but I've heard the stories.
Well, I'm not a big seafood guy, so I won't get too I won't take my chances too much. I'll try stuff, but sometimes I'm like, all right, can't do that.
So Brandon, so the same question for you. I mean, you got to do the DMC and you were doing all these, you won 3 times, it was just amazing. How hard is it prepping for those battles? And I know you said one of them you just kind of freestyled, but do you feel that just being able to come up with these routines has really helped you on your live sets and, basically just performing?
When it comes to DJing, I like, to rock parties and stuff like that. The reason why I was doing DMC is because when we talked a little bit when we were all in Vegas about how, I'm a big fan of Spin Bad and everything like that. Well, the thing is, when I heard his style, it made me think okay, you can still mix, but you can also add in some technical stuff. So ever since then, I was always obsessed with being a party rocking DJ, but with technical skills. So I've always wanted to be that DJ that could rock a party while simultaneously giving you skills that, that don't take away from the danceability of it. So when I do DMC sets, I try to program them in a way that, it's very technical and it can hold weight, but it also is going to rock the crowd too. And I think, that kind of gives me an advantage over the other competitors because a lot of times they're not, some of them are, I don't want to say all of them, but a lot of them are not actively DJing every weekend or whatever, you know what I mean? Right. So when I make routines, I put them together in the mindset of, okay, I want something that's relatable. I want something that has songs that people are going to know, songs that have a lot of energy and something, that it's just going to rock the crowd. So I think, it's definitely helped me be a better DJ. A lot of the skills that I learned from preparing for DMC, I now am able to just do when I'm out DJing regularly. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I know you guys are putting a ton of time into Team Ragoza. But I'm curious, would you ever think about possibly doing the 3 style? Because it's a little bit more what you're explaining, right? The 3 style compared to the DMC is a lot more party rocking.
So 3 style, a lot of the 3 style guys would get smoked in DMC as far as technicality goes. But vice versa. A lot of the DMC guys would get smoked in Red Bull,
of course.
But so it's I would love to do Red Bull. Maybe not now because I don't know if we're going to have a lot of time because practicing for something like that does take a lot of prep.
I can imagine.
If I can do it, I would love to. I tried to apply for Red Bull twice before and I got rejected both times. I tried once in 2015 and then another time, I think it was 2017, and I didn't get accepted. So if they start doing it again, I might try again. But the thing is, battles are cool, but as I, progress in my career and everything, I find that, the time that it takes isn't always worth it. These days you're better off because with the internet and everything, you could put that same amount of time and energy into your own stuff pretty much and put content out and basically create your own opportunities that way. Cause that was a big selling point for battles back in the day was hey, if you win battles, you add weight to your name and it can help you advance your career. Right. But now with the way the internet is, you don't need anybody's help to advance your career. All you need is yourself to be consistent and to put out good content. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
well, then to pressure you more, when do the Team Ragoza TikTok start dropping?
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, we gotta jump on TikTok. I have one for myself, but it's hard. You got to be like really like consistent on that if you want to get like a viral video.
I know.
And I still can't really get the rhythm of it.
I think the best way to go about it, especially for you two, would be to set up a camera like right now, the way it's set up, and just record. Like, you should record an hour of you guys doing it, and then just break every part, or like the transition, where it's like you going from one song to a next into that 30 seconds or 45 seconds, and then from one hour a day of recording it, you would have 45 seconds that you could use multiple days in a row. And I think the consistency is posting something once a day on there. Like, you got to post something once a day.
Great idea.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here posting something once a day, but I think that you guys easily could, because what you're doing is so entertaining, and there's so much going on with it that could really be the way that you guys could do it.
We could already actually, because we did those 2 streams for the DJ's Vault.
Yeah, we could use that.
Yeah, we have those videos. Like, we could actually, wow, because all right,
you could do that. You could chop those, or you could even chop your promo video and just chop it into highlights.
Yeah,
really just reformat it in that vertical the vertical way that TikTok is, and you could put it on Instagram Reels and that.
Yep.
I love how we're pushing everybody this Fuse,
and we're not doing it ourselves.
That's definitely a great idea. I love that.
But the other thing that I've been noticing is, it's all about, it's with YouTube and even TikTok, it's all about keeping people to watch the whole video. So if you're only posting a 15 to 20 second clip of like you scratching and you playing guitar, for that, people are going to watch that whole 20
and watch
15,
it over and over and over.
Yeah.
It
That's
counting.
That's what their algorithm uses to launch it into new people's feeds. So like, it's not about having this detailed 60-second video. There's stuff on there that I'm like, this has got 1 million plays. Like, this is
Cranberry Skateboard Guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, totally. I mean, just anything. Other DJs that I'm seeing, and not to talk shit, but like, I'm just like, dude, you're just playing an acapella out with a cool beat intro that, like Usher, yeah, like you're playing something out and Usher, yeah, and like everybody fucking does that all the time. But like, you guys really
we want to
have,
inspire you.
Yeah. I'm
That's
telling you,
definitely
what you guys have.
It's a bit of a mindset shift for me, because I am realizing that because I actually got a lot of my career kind of started taking off in the mid 2010s when I started like dropping a lot of videos on Facebook. This is before Facebook got like really strict with their copyright rules and all that stuff. So, but I would put up like these 10-minute mixes. So in my mind, like I had it fixated, like, oh, okay, if I'm going to put out content, it has to be like a start to finish detailed, like composition, I guess you could say. Right. But now I'm realizing you don't need to do that. Because I'm seeing people like you said, it's just like 15 seconds. Like it starts, it's already, obviously the DJ or musician, whoever is already in what they're doing, like they already started. It's just a 15-second, pretty much like a snippet, but that counts as content now.
Even if it's like, I feel like it could be like you scratching and like she's just, it might not be a part where she's got like heavy on the guitar, and vice versa. It could be a part where she's heavy on the guitar and you're not doing much. It doesn't really matter, because you're showcasing what it is, and people are then going to go look it up and be like, what's actually happening here, and as long as the parts that you're highlighting are interesting for the 15 seconds, that's all that matters.
Yep.
It doesn't even have to be like overly thought where it's like, I'm doing this and she's doing that. It's just got to be a clip of what you're already doing.
Love that.
But
thanks, guys.
That
is great. That is great advice, actually. I love that.
So in 6 months, when you're TikTok famous, we just want a drop that says,
hey, we're team Ragoza, and Drew and Fuse made us TikTok famous.
Yes.
Ragoza wants to open a Drew and Fuse show, a live performance.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, we're in.
And,
maybe like an anniversary edition or something.
Hell yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
They'll get the Liquid Death sponsorship before we will, Drew. So we just want them to send us a couple cases.
That Liquid Death.
Are you guys on the Liquid Death too?
So, well, no, I was gonna say. So we were at a concert recently, and I went up to the bar, and
Oh my God.
we don't drink. So we just wanted some water. I wanted a bottle of water, right?
Yeah.
But they couldn't give me that. What they did was they took out a can of Liquid Death. She opened it up and then poured it into these 2 cups and then gave it to me and said $10.
Stop.
And of course, I'm
No
too nice.
Stop.
Too nice
No
to say
joke.
anything, you know. But in my mind, I'm just like, wow, I literally just paid $10 for 2 plastic cups of water because at concerts.
That's actually no, that's crazy to me because I went to a concert. I went to a punk show, and Liquid Death was sponsoring it, and they were $2
Yeah, well,
for the can.
I went to a concert recently too, and one of my friends that used to work at one of the bars that I played at forever runs the venue now, and he was telling me the interesting fact that Live Nation owns 20% of the company of Liquid Death, so you're going to be seeing Liquid Death at most concert venues moving forward.
well, as
So,
long as they
which is
don't charge
interesting.
$10 to put it in a cup, I'm cool with it.
So the whole thing was to save the plastic. You need to email them and tell them that, you know, they're not doing that by pouring the water into
the
the
reason
plastic
why-
cup.
I guess is because like at certain shows or whatever, they're concerned about like if they give you like a can and it's not open, you could then throw that can and potentially hurt somebody. That's their
Yeah.
like, reasoning. But
I say that that's not very punk rock of Liquid Death to be worried about a can getting thrown
Yeah.
somewhere. But and you know, one of my favorite things to do at a punk show is to drink the beer can till it's got just a little bit left in it, and that's when you chug it. That's like that's my favorite thing because people at punk shows don't give a shit. So
Yeah, those
that's
metal
the
concerts
thing.
Shout out
were
Liquid
good
Death.
too. All the mosh pits and everything, and the crowd.
Yeah, some of them are a little too crazy for me. I'm all about getting in a mosh pit from time to time, but I'm like, some of them you got to be careful with. You're like, all right, these people might actually try to hurt you. You know, you're in some where like everybody's cool and they're like, you fall down, they're helping you up, and then you get some where you're like, these people are literally trying to kill people out there.
Yeah,
it depends on the band. You know, it's
Yep,
it's crazy. 'cause I've been
totally.
to concerts too, where it's like almost like a festival where it's a bunch of different bands, and you'll see the attitude of like the mosh pits change from band to band, depending on like their style and their like their typical fan base. But luckily for us, like the kind of metal we listen to, the mosh pits are usually pretty not dangerous. Everybody cares about each other, which is good. But I don't go in them anymore. I'm too old for that shit.
I will still go in them.
I just love to enjoy the music,
he
you know.
keeps me out of them.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, you ain't. Dude, she gets hurt so easy. Like everything she does, she gets hurt. She's so accident prone. So I'm like, no,
Horrible.
there's no way in hell you're going into mosh pit. I'm sorry. I want to.
That's awesome.
I want to go to the mosh pit. You go in the mosh pit on the last song because the last thing I want is for you to get hurt and we have to leave the concert early.
I used to be so involved in them. I used to partake in when they had like their circle pits and like the wall of death and stuff. I don't do it as much anymore.
You guys ever heard of the Wall of Death?
Yes, of course. Yes. Well, and you know, there's an advantage to going into the mosh pit during the last song because all the old guys like us are all worn out by then, so there's not much moshing going on still. But if I've had enough to drink and I'm still getting in them. But we're gonna shake things up. We're gonna do one of our other segments, and we'll play the segment video here in just a second. But we're gonna talk travel hacks. We know you guys have been traveling a little bit here more recently, so any tips or tricks that you want to give for us, we're gonna play the segment video and then we'll ask the question again. So here we go.
I wanna fly away.
Travel hacks.
All right, there's our travel hack segment video, as brought to you by Drew Pierce. So you guys have been traveling a lot. We know you've been doing a lot of stuff with the Crate Hackers and the Evolved DJs, and obviously we've been at the last 2 conferences with you guys. Do you have any travel tips or anything that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Can you think of anything?
I'm trying to think of some because we travel together so much. We do a lot of driving.
Yeah,
mostly.
so for driving, this might not be. Hopefully, whoever my insurance company isn't listening to this. I don't think they will. But for long drives, we actually put on movies. Like, it helps the time go by a lot faster. So she'll just connect her phone to the Bluetooth, and we'll put it in the hands-free dash
the phone
mount,
holder.
and we'll just
I
put on
love that.
Netflix, and it's like, you know, you put on a 2-hour movie that makes the drive go by so fast. And obviously, when I'm driving, I can't like, you know, look at the screen the whole time. But when you can hear the movie and everything, you can still follow along. It's still like mentally stimulating enough to like make the drive go by a lot faster. So, that's, I guess that's one thing that we do.
Not even an iPad.
Yeah, you could do it with an iPad.
Well, when you guys are all TikTok famous, you can get one of the Teslas, and then you can drive it in hands-free mode, and you both can enjoy the movie then.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a couple of years, or maybe like 10 years before I trust something to drive for me. But yeah, so for travel hacks, like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like we do a lot, but I'm like drawing a blank. Like now that the topic has been brought up, my number one rule is I always say, wifey packs, hubby drives.
That's our motto.
That's basically how we travel if we're driving. And what about flying? Like, is there anything you could think of for flying?
For flying?
There was one travel
Do you
hack.
need special battery packs or headphones?
Oh,
or
yeah.
I don't even, maybe like a portable scratch mixer or something. I don't know.
All
Anything
that.
like that.
The portable turntable.
So where is it around here?
It's on the table.
So yeah, we do have the Newmark portable turntable. We bring that everywhere with us. So I always go to the airport if we're flying. Always go at least 2 or 3 hours early. I don't fuck around because I want to get through security. I hate going through security. I get so much anxiety because I hate how like you got to take all your valuable shit out and it's got to
get that TSA pre.
You got TSA pre?
I got to get that. I keep saying I'm gonna, and I never do.
When you get off today, sign up for it.
Go sign up. It's like $75.
Okay.
You don't $75 for 5 years. For 5 years. And you don't have to take anything out. You don't have to take your shoes off. It's a must. Telling you.
But it's one of those things where every time I'm there, I see that and I'm like, oh, I need to do that. But then when I'm not there, I don't think about it at all. So I
right when you're done with this, write a post-it note, stick it on the computer right here.
It will take you less than 5 minutes to sign up for it, and then it's $75, and that's it.
Not bad.
I promise you. After this,
but I just had to renew mine, so
it's good. Hey, I got this controller. I don't know if fits right on your laptop. It's like the size of it fits right on the laptop.
Oh,
really ready.
I've seen that before.
It's pretty dope. It has full size pads and the whole deal. So I like it.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That is really cool.
All right, so appreciate the travel tips. Wifey packs and hubby drives. There you have it.
Yes.
Team Ragoza travel tip. All right. Is there anything that you've learned that you could share, and without too much detail or giving away too much of your secrets on music organization or how you like to keep things organized?
I always say this: I'm not a role model in any means when it comes to organizing my music. I try to, and I've tried to many times, but for me, it's all up here. You know what I mean? Like my ideas and stuff like that. When I'm out DJing, I don't ever go through crates. I just type. I think of what I want to play and I type it in. I pull up the prepare box and I think maybe 5-6 songs ahead. I type in and I drop them in there. I try to organize crates and I've given up on it. I am, I think in the moment, you know what I mean? And I think like, okay, if I'm playing one song, it immediately makes me think of 3 or 4 other songs. I don't need to go into a crate to know what those songs are. I think of them and I type them in.
I'm the exact same way. I've tried so many times to prep out a night and I draw a blank stare. I get in front of them and it's like the Matrix and the 1s and the 0s and the 2s all start coming out. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it is. You know?
Yeah, the only thing I guess I could say that I do is if I have a dope night, I save that as a crate. Like I was saying earlier, like I'll do a good set and I'll think, oh wow, that night went really well. So I'll go into the history, I'll save all that and I'll name the crate, the name of the venue and the date. And then if I am DJing at a similar place, I might go into that crate and move some things around and prepare that way. But yeah, music organization is just like, it's like, okay, yeah, I could have a rock crate, I could have a Latin crate, I can have a mashup crate, whatever. But guess what? They're gonna be there. I'm never gonna go in them. I'm like never gonna go into them when I'm DJing, because when I'm DJing, I just think of shit and I type it in.
Are you good at do you smart crates at all? Because your tagging is actually really good.
Well, when I make edits, I tag things for other DJs because I know other DJs don't think that, like, they don't. A lot of DJs do scroll and things like that. So I try to make sure that my tagging's on point for people that do that. When I make my personal edits, it's so the opposite. Like, it'll literally be like, let's say like I make like a custom edit of like next episode or something like that. It'll literally just say next episode edit, like all in caps, and that's all it says. No artist, no nothing. Or it'll say like next episode new edit, or test drive or something like that, like if it's an edit I want to test out before I actually like release it or something.
So speaking of edits, would you say that Crooklyn Clan was like the first place that people could find your edits online, or were you on something before Crooklyn Clan, or you want to tell us a little kind of that story?
I was always like in love with the idea of putting acapellas over music, like even more than scratching. Like that's why I got into DJing. So even back when I was like 13 years old, I used to download acapellas and instrumentals from Napster or like Morpheus or whatever. And I would open up 2 Windows media players and I would try to match the songs that way. Like I would hit the space bar on whatever song was faster to do like these micro pauses to match the tempos and everything. Wow. So like I was always big on that, but I was never really good with computers for the longest time. So all the way up until about 2013, I was doing everything live, all my ideas. But my ideas started to get to the point where it went beyond what I could do on just 2 turntables and a mixer, So I knew I wanted to learn how to use Ableton, and I got it. I got it on my computer. So one of my friends gave me like a cracked version of it to try out. So I opened it up and I'm like trying to I had this idea in my head. Actually, I think I even remember at the time what it was. It was Big Sean Ass was popular at that time, ass. And I was trying to put it over that Krayshawn song, Gucci, Fendi, Prada. Like as those 2 songs were popular at the time.
Wow. Yeah,
so I was trying to put that acapella over it and I could not do it. I was so frustrated. And I like literally wanted to throw my laptop against the wall. So I took a week and I sat down and I went on YouTube and I just kind of like did a bunch of trial and error. And I finally like got to the point where, okay, I can actually make an edit. I can make it sound good, but I never released them. So for like about 2 years go by, now I'm making edits, but I'm not releasing them because I don't think they're good enough. I don't know. I at the time I was using a lot of your guys' stuff. I was using a lot of Danny Diggs, Scooter, DeVille, things like that. And of course I was using my own stuff, but it wasn't released. At the same time though, I was doing videos on Facebook, like I mentioned earlier. And that's when Scissorhands saw my video, one of my videos, and he reached out to me and he goes, bro, you need to make some edits. And I was like, well, I do make edits. I just don't release them because I don't know if they're like worthy or like good enough to be released or whatever. So I sent him like 8 or 9 of edits I was working on. And he said to me, you must be rich. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you must be rich because you'd be a lot richer if you were selling these. So the fact that you have them and you're not selling them means that you must be rich. And I was like, shit. Okay. So you like them? He goes, yeah, they're dope. So then he put me on the site and I was really grateful for that. Like, honestly, like I always say that, like that was he was the first person to like kind of look past the fact that I was from a small city, didn't really, know anybody or have any connects or anything like that. I was always like just kind of thinking like, oh man, like it seems like the DJ game is like one of those things where you need to know somebody to be somebody, you know what I mean? And so I really appreciated the fact that like he gave me that shot. And the Crooklyn Clan was my first spot. So I was on there for a couple of years. And then I did my own thing for a little bit where I was just, selling edits on my site and everything like that. And I started doing these what I call mega packs. And those really did a lot for me.
I got a couple of those.
Yeah. So like those were really great. And I miss doing packs like that. But the thing is, I ran out of ideas. Like I did like a 80s pack, a 90s pack, a rock pack, some disco packs. I did dance music. I did reggae. I did like, I eventually just ran out of themes. I was like, all right, this era is done. Because I can't think of any more mega packs to do. So that was fun. And then I was actually, I was kind of doing that for a while. And then I actually started. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually started Crate Gang with the current owner, Matt. I started that a while ago, but I had to step down because the thing is, I'm not a good person to be the owner of something like that, right? Because I have such a high standard in my mind of how I want things to sound and how I want things to be. And not to diss anybody, right? Nothing was meeting my standards. And my standards are ridiculous. Like I'm not trying to sound like a dick or anything. It's just if I'm gonna put my name on something, I just want only my name to be on it. I don't want my name associated with like other people's work. It's different when you're like how I am now, like on DMS. It's different because I'm a team member. You know what I mean? But like someone like Warren Peace, Kevin Scott, in a way, everything that gets released on DMS is a representation of them. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was just between like everything that I do on my regular day-to-day life, because everything I do takes so long, as you guys know, because you do it too. Edits take forever. Practicing takes forever. Making mixes takes forever. So it was too much pressure for me to do that and overlook everything that was going on the site. You know what I mean? It was just too much.
It's
So
a site's a full-time job. I can't even imagine,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone actually trying to do the content. The content is what is the end product that everyone sees, right? But no one sees the hours and hours and hours and hours behind the site.
It's a lot.
Which
It was
is
really a
A
lot.
site
Yeah.
is more than a full-time job. It's a couple
Yeah.
people's, multiple
It is.
people's full-time
Yeah.
job. Because I mean, even with the stuff that we're doing at DMS, I mean, there's just a lot going on and there's a lot of moving parts, and people just don't think about things. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. But I pretty much like I had a nervous breakdown and I was like, look at man, I can't do this anymore. I need to step away from this and get my creativity back. Cause there was a point where I didn't even come up with anything new for like almost a year, like just no ideas, no edits, no nothing. Cause there was so much pressure on me with the site. So and I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Like you live and you learn, you know what I mean? You learn what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And being the owner of a site like that, with multiple people working under it, that's just not for me. So, I stepped away from that. I went back to, doing packs and things like that. But yeah, when I started getting involved with Crate Hackers, that's kind of what led to me being part of DMS. Because Joe and Aaron, they obviously use DMS a lot, and I've been using DMS a lot too for like as long as I can remember. Getting Serato and all that stuff back in like late 2000s. So it definitely I love the team that I'm on now. Like I'm really honored to be on this team with you guys for real. Like to actually be a part of the team of the people whose edits I've been playing for over 10 years now. It's pretty dope.
Well, we thought it was a perfect fit because, me and Kevin would get your packs and we were huge fans of yours as well. So I just think it's a perfect fit. And we're so happy to have you on. And I think that kind of is a great segue into your Evolve DJ class that you're doing now. So maybe you could talk about that for a lot of people that don't know or are maybe interested next time it opens up, how they could sign up.
Yeah. So Evolve DJs is something that kind of came to life when I started. So I guess I'll backtrack a little bit. When Crate Hackers first kind of emerged, I had no idea who any of those guys were at first. I heard about it. I thought it was a dope idea. And so I friend requested Aaron and all those guys. And then Aaron reached out to me and was like, dude, you got a pretty decent fan base. Would you like to come do a hackathon? So I went on, I did a hackathon. And at the time I was working on a scratch course because I knew I wanted to get into like the teaching, like the I guess you could say the teaching field, because like I realized like there were so many things about scratching and DJing that a lot of tutorials don't cover. Like they'll show you how to do something, but they won't show you like how to practice it or how to get good at certain things. So I wanted to add my input into it, and I came up with these what I call scratch trainers, where they're like these tracks. You put them in your Serato, and it's a metronome click with scratches already on there. So basically, you put it in, and it helps you learn any scratch. It's everything from I did scratch trainers for everything from the baby scratch all the way up into the 3-click orbit. So basically, it's one bar of the scratch and then another bar empty with you to repeat that scratch back, and it starts slow and then it goes fast. Everything is uniform, just like with the, I made it in the same way I make like my mega packs. I call it, originally I called it the Scratch Trainer Mega Pack. That's like literally what I called it. So like my following would be like, familiar with that term. So I put that out, and it was pretty cool. It got some reaction. It wasn't like a crazy thing, but people seemed pretty cool with it. But then it was Dom's idea, with Crate Hackers. He's like, hey, how would you like to collaborate on, opening another site where, we take this whole teaching thing to the next level, and, we can offer your scratch trainers on there. We could do live training and everything. And I said, yeah, we'll give it a try. So they flew me out to Raleigh, down to Joe Bunn's office, and we met there. We were talking, and we came up with that whole idea. And what Evolve kind of turned into was this really cool thing where we do these live sessions every week. Actually, tonight we're doing one. We're talking about EQing, just different EQing methods when you're out DJing. But it's really dope because we do we do all the training live. We record it on Zoom, and the users get to interact with us. Like, they can ask me any question they want, even if it's not like related to the topic that night. Because I'll give the presentation first. I'll talk about the topic, and then I'll answer questions after that. So it's like we go on live. The first hour I talk about whatever the topic is, and then the next hour I basically just answer any questions, like anything at all that whoever's in the Zoom has to ask. And it's a lot of fun because the questions that I get asked give me ideas on what to teach next, or, what to put together next. So it's really fun. And we have our Facebook group, obviously. So we encourage each other. Like, people do like a mix or whatever, or have a video, they can put that in the group and get support and everything like that. But what we're trying to do is basically we're just trying to help DJs improve their performance, because Crate Hackers helps you organize your music. The DJ's Vault helps you with your business, as far as like interacting with clients and things like that, marketing, those type of things. So Evolve DJs is kind of like the piece of like, okay, now that you have your business in order, you have your music organized, now let's take your performance to the next level. So anything that has to do with performance style DJing, we talk about making edits. We talk about obviously scratching. We talk about, live mixing,
beat juggling.
Yeah. We talked about beat juggling last week. So literally like anything that has to do with performance DJing, we go over, and we do it live.
Acapella Out, how to mix an acapella out properly. I just see that all the time where people do just flat intros on an acapella and just almost ruin what the hook could have been, but instead of like highlighting it or making it even bigger, right, with a new song, if it's an actual popular instrumental underneath it, instead of just like a flat intro.
100%. Yeah, we talk a lot about stuff like that, like a lot of conceptual stuff. You know what I mean? Like what you just said. Like, sure, you could bring in a flat intro and it's going to sound good, right? But it's boring if you had a nice harmonic way to do that instead. So we talk about a lot of that stuff. The concepts behind things, because I feel like in the digital era, like it's kind of hard for, like, imagine if you're a DJ and you're just getting started now. Like, imagine how many different like it's so confusing because you go on YouTube and it's like, who do you listen to? Because there's so many people telling you do it this way, no, do it that way, no, do it that way. And what I've noticed is a lot of the newer DJs that came out in the last 10 years, like a lot of them are just doing very basic like intro outro mixing. And I try to make them realize, like, look, you can do that. Of course you can do that, and it's going to sound good. If you mix 8 bars over 8 bars all night, it's going to sound good, but it's not going to sound very exciting. So I try to help DJs understand how they can take a little bit of everything. And I'm big on teaching, like, I'm not saying don't ever do 8-bar mixes, but do a couple of them, then do like an acapella mix, then do a slam mix, then do a tempo change, then do, what I mean? Always keep it like fresh and keep it like, keep your listener guessing and don't be like predictable, So I do my best to help DJs inside of Evolve achieve that with their performances.
That's always one of the biggest compliments I ever think I can receive is, I didn't know what you were going to play next. That's my favorite thing is I just didn't know what was coming. Every moment was just bigger than the next. So
and you are definitely really good at that, because we were listening. I told you when we were in Vegas, we were listening to that party mix that you did a long time ago.
The whatever mix.
The whatever
Yeah.
mix. And you know, I really enjoyed that mix just because of that specific reason. I had no idea what was coming next, but you did it in a way that was smooth and it was exciting because you weren't playing like you were just playing like one verse and then keeping it moving, which I really
Right.
liked. And like I'm a big mashup guy. Like I love mashups. But what impressed me about that mix so much is there wasn't really any mashups in it, but it was just as entertaining as a mashup mix just because of the selections and the flow of the mix. So that really impressed me a lot. Like that's some, you know, that's definitely some experience. You could tell someone with a lot of experience is behind that type of programming for sure.
That's high praise, and I'm thankful. I've actually listened back on that mix, and I'll be honest, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot this was on it. You know, I forgot I even put it on the mix. So, yeah, it's high praise, and thank you very much. Is there something with these the Evolve DJs that's coming out? Is anybody able to join now? Is it closed? When will they be able to join again? Is it like a 30-week program? How does that work?
So what we do is we've been teaching kind of like in series. So like we'll do we just did 4 weeks on phrasing. So that's why we close it, because you know we want to like get through the 4-week segment, and it's almost like, you know, like if you're in a classroom and there's a teacher teaching and a student walks in the middle of class, you know what I mean? They
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we do record everything and archive everything. So if you do join, you get to like actually watch all the previous lessons that we've done. And we've already done a lot of them since being open last year. So, but we try to like open and close when between these, I guess you could call them like series, you know what I mean? But yeah, if anybody really wants to join, you know, it is closed right now, but you know, if you send me a message, I can get you in. But we're going to be,
There's the exclusive right there.
Yes. Say Drew and Fuse said, yeah. How about that? Say Drew and Fuse said, and I'll let you right in. But we are going to be doing it. We're going to be opening it up to everybody soon. What we try to do every couple of months is we try to do like a live workshop that's completely free to everybody. So we'll do like a live 3-day workshop where you can show up all 3 days in a row. You don't have to spend anything. And basically I kind of give demonstrations on different techniques, and you kind of get to see like how it is inside of Evolve. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like how we, you know, we let people know, because I don't want anybody to pay for something that like they don't want. You know, Evolve might not be for everybody. There might be a better teaching solution for you, you know, but I do explain things in a very like unique way. I'm very like, you know, I guess you could say non-traditional in the way that I teach, but it seems to work for people because I keep hearing time and time again, like, wow, I've never heard it explained this way, or I've never seen it demonstrated that way, or nobody's ever broken it down that specific before. You know what I mean? So I try to give that like a demonstration of that during the free workshop so people can see, okay, if I sign up for Evolve, this is the guy I got to listen to. I got to listen to this guy's voice the whole time. So if they like my teaching style, they can sign up. If not, hey, no hard feelings, but you know, that's why we do those live workshops. And it's a lot of fun because
we were part of that last live workshop. It was so fun just being there with everybody. And if you guys are still coming up, you definitely need to sign up for this. I mean, there's so much valuable information. And I think something that I want to just highlight that I think gets overlooked is how valuable the community is of just everybody like really bringing each other up and having that positive attitude, and, you know, the Facebook groups and all that stuff. It's so good. So that's the Crate Hackers and the DJ's Vault group, which, to transition a little bit, is where I first saw the Team Ragoza on that DJ's Vault live. What was it? Live Twitch, right? And holy crap, I must have got 5 or 6 different texts of, "Are you watching this shit?" You know, like you guys were just crushing this video stream. It was both of them.
Oh, okay.
The first one was when I was getting all the texts, but everyone was excited for the anniversary, right? So we all at that point we were already tuned in. But yeah, it was just crazy. How did this whole thing come about? Has this been pre-planned, or were you guys just chilling and we're like, fuck it, you know?
We talk about like the concept of Team Ragoza, or that
yeah. I mean, it makes so much sense, obviously, but I'm just wondering what really, kicked it into high gear.
So for Team Ragoza, so when Desiree and I first met, things took off for us really quick. We were married within a month of meeting. We had this hashtag that we would put on all of our posts together that said Team Ragoza.
Yeah.
Because we'd say, oh, we're a power couple, all this stuff. So Team Ragoza. So that's kind of like how like the name started. It was just kind of like almost like a corny little cute thing we were doing together, But then like over the pandemic, obviously, like we met like literally right before COVID hit. Like we met in January of 2020, and we were together for maybe 2 months before COVID hit. So when we were locked down, just like a lot of people, we got experimental and we were like, okay, let's give this a try. So the first video that we did, I think it's still on my Facebook. It was literally like, it was such a shitty like video as far as quality goes, because it was just like one GoPro at a horrible angle, and it was me scratching some dusty old like vinyl like scratch record, and then she was just freestyle. Like, it was just basically like a 1 minute freestyle video. She went like 4 bars, I went 4 bars, we went back and forth a few times, the video was over. Just something very simple, silly, and fun, but it wasn't it was just very basic. But we put it out and it blew up. It got like 800 likes and like a shit ton of shares and a shit ton of comments. And I was like, damn, like too bad we're in lockdown right now, because if we weren't, we could like actually do shows like this. So
yeah,
so that's kind of how we got the idea. But we didn't really start like getting a lot of momentum until after the lockdown, because the thing is with me, like, I don't know if you guys are like this, but like I need like assignments to do things. Like it's hard for me to come up with ideas and come up with like actually get something done if I don't have like a definitive like deadline. Yeah. So when we started actually being able to do gigs, that's when we started making a lot of our routines, because it's like, okay, now we have something to prepare for,
Procrastination is my hero.
Yeah.
It's always chirping at me like, Drew, deadline.
Yeah.
At that time too, it was like in the lockdown was like when I first started being exposed to Ableton and starting to learn how to make my own mashups just by watching him do it.
Yeah, and that's another big part of how Team Ragoza got to where it is now, is with the concept. Because the thing about Desiree is that, like, us DJs, we need to rely on key detection. I can hear when something's off, but I'm not like accurate like 100%. Like I don't have what they call perfect pitch like Desiree does. So Desiree can hear a song and within seconds be like, oh, that's a G minor, oh, that's an E major, oh, you know what I mean? Which is phenomenal, because like we could take our mashups to the next level as far as how we layer things harmonically, because like she can even hear things like, oh, okay, technically that's in key, but that particular part still clashes. Okay, good to know. Or there'll be other times where like mixed in key or whatever might say, oh, this isn't going to work, but because we have this advanced musician's ear right here, we know how to make it work. So between my like knowledge of programming and structuring and like building hypes and making edits, and her knowledge of like perfect pitch, and obviously her ability to play, like we bring those two things together, we're able to make such amazing backing tracks for us to play over when we do Team Ragoza.
Right.
And like one of my favorite parts about Team Ragoza, like my favorite part obviously is the performance. Like nothing beats like actually doing it live, but I love the preparation of it, because we sit in front of the computer, we have fun, we come up with ideas, and it's not just the collaboration of like performance. Obviously, it's also a collaboration of minds, because like I said, we're bringing both of our we couldn't do this. Obviously the performance we couldn't do just one of us, but the ideas we need both of us to do as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because without her music knowledge and without my programming knowledge, they wouldn't sound the way they do.
I helped him with a lot of his flush the format mixes.
Oh, she helps me. That's the thing. She helps me with all my mixes now. I feel so bad, because I'm always like, Desiree, how does this sound? Does this clash?
Yeah.
How does this? What key is this song? Does this work? I literally I don't release a single mashup now without running it past her first.
Well, I got a question for you. How often, Desiree, are you seeing mix and key and or Serato just being completely wrong? Is it Is it gotten better?
It's actually worse than I thought it was. If you were to ask me before I met
Is it worse?
I would have said, okay, Serato key detection is like 80%. Serato key detection, I think, is like maybe 50%.
Yeah, I've heard that. What about mix and key though? Have you switched over? I heard mix and key 10 is a lot better.
So I actually just got mixed in key 10, and what I like about it is it's still a little bit, because I immediately got it, and right away I tested Desiree. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna load these 10 songs and I'm gonna compare what you say it is to what mix and key says, and I think it was like 7 out of 10 it got right.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So it's a little better, but I'll tell you what I love about mixed in key 10 is they have this virtual piano now that you could pull up, and the keys are labeled in Camelot, because as DJs we're used to Camelot. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm used to like 5A, 6A, all that stuff. So the keys actually say like 5A, 10A, whatever. So if a song says it's like 10A, for example, I can hit that 10A key and see, okay, how does that sound? And if it doesn't sound right, then I know, okay, it's probably something else. And then I can hit the other keys until something sounds right and, hear it myself. But I'm still not perfect with it. I don't care. I'm always going to run everything past Desiree regardless.
Of course. As you should. That's a much better detection.
Because 100%, like it's 100% accuracy. And that's what I want to achieve.
Unfortunately, I mean, we've been going for a while. This has been amazing. I don't want it to end, but Fuse has to run here in a second. Let's see. We just want to hit a couple last things if you guys got a second.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Let's see. Do you want to do new tech or 60-second rant?
All right. I got a 60-second rant. I'll tell you.
All right, we'll run this video real quick and then we'll start the timer. All right, here we go.
Shout, let it all out.
All right, here we go. We're gonna put 60 seconds on the clock, and you can random out anything you want.
It's gonna be hard.
Starting.
I babble like a motherfucker. So
here we go. Starting now. Here we go.
All right. So what I want to rant about is negativity. Everybody's sharing the news about high gas prices and all these conflicts with people and all. You know what? When you put energy into negativity, all you do is create more negativity. So cut it with the negativity, cut it out on Facebook, in the DJ world, because what you put energy into is what increases. So if you put energy into negativity, you're going to have more negativity in your life. You put energy into positive stuff, you'll have more positivity in your life. So fuck all the negative shit and stay off of Facebook as much as you can and only go on there to post. That's what I do. To like post good things and share content and stuff like that. Nothing negative.
Yep, that's a good one.
That was awesome. Totally agree. I just in this whole interview has been amazing, but I want to shout out my fellow late sleepers. That both of you have different points of the interview. One said Brandon said he was getting up at noon, and Desiree said she was getting up at 1 or something like that for the Michael Jackson thing. But I'm a late sleeper, so yeah, shout out for the team late sleepers. Well, we're gonna, this has been amazing having you guys on. We'll have to do a second round. But is there anything you could tell the listeners where to follow, what to look out for, what to expect from all your projects coming up?
Yeah. So we're both on pretty much all the social media platforms, but you can find Team Ragoza. We have a website, teamragoza.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and then all of our individual social plugs are on that. You can find me at Desiree Ragoza. You can find him at DJ Ragoza.
Yeah, of course. You can find all my edits on DMS. Well, not all of them yet, because there's a lot of them, but you can find my edits on DMS. And of course, Evolve DJs, Create Hackers, DJs Vault. You know what I mean? Like we have a lot of stuff coming up, and be on the lookout for mixes too. I got a lot of mixes coming out on Mixcloud. I've been having to make a lot of mixes lately for radio, so I'm going to be putting a lot more content on Mixcloud. So you can go to Team Ragoza on Mixcloud and check out some mixes.
Also, make sure to follow them on TikTok. They're going to have that up by the time this comes out. They're going to have their first video. When this comes out, you guys are going to have your first video on there, right?
I will open a TikTok as soon as the session is over.
There we
and,
go.
And you're also gonna sign up for TSA Pre right after this is over.
Yes.
That's right.
Don't forget.
Yes, that we.
You'll thank me. You'll thank me at DJ Expo. I promise.
I gotta renew my passport. It's expired now. I didn't realize it's like a year expired.
Oh yeah. You got to send that one in too, because I think once they're expired, it takes a little even longer than the normal renewal rate. So you'll have to make sure you do that.
Because I can just apply for a whole new one because it had my previous last name before I got married. So
there you go. There you go.
go.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having us.
So thank you. And thank you for everybody that's listening. If you are listening, make sure you shout us out if you're listening. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you download. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate and review the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment on the video as well. And that's going to wrap up today. Thank you to Team Ragoza for being on the show, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.